So I'm going to hand over to our host for today, Mayowa. Please, over to you, Mayowa.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good midnight, wherever you are. Thank you for joining. Good to see you guys once again. So it's Hangout. There's no protocol. You can do anyhow. So hello guys, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Yes,
I hear you loud and clear.
So I'm breaking all protocols, man. We can do anyhow. We can ask questions when you feel like it's Hangout. So it's like friends coming together to gist. So let's remove all the official things. Let's lay it bare and speak our mind and rub minds, and let's just hang out. So to start with, I want to recognize the speakers for today, Mrs. Adeleke and sorry, it just skipped my mind now. Mrs. Olagbade. Is it Mrs. or Miss? Anyways, if you would just use the Mrs. All right, thank you so much. If you can just use the first minute to introduce yourself, what you do, so that the community can know who they're hanging out with today. We'll start with Mrs. Adeleke, since she was the first person that joined.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are from. My name is Yilayefa Adeleke. Yilayefa means there is nothing like mother. My dad actually gave me that name, you know. Okay, so I am a family life practitioner. That is a professional family, marriage, and couples relationship counselor. What I do is I help bring clarity and purpose to your relational concerns, you know, so that you can have that beautiful, meaningful, flourishing life that you deserve. I am based in Abuja, and that is basically it for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Adeleke.
You're welcome.
Over to you, Mrs. Olagbade.
Good evening, everyone. Can you confirm that you can hear me?
I can hear you, ma'am.
All right. So good evening, everyone. My name is Adenike Olagbade, popularly known as Nike. Anyway, so I'm a married minister. I have worked with singles for 6 years, and recently I have transited into marriage. I don't like to call it counseling because it's a combination of counseling and administration to people. So I've been sent to help people get delivered from a lot of darkness that is plaguing the marriage industry right now, and introducing to them the original order of God in marriages. So that's basically what I do now. And I'm excited to be here because I have a deep desire for singles to get it right and let them know that marriage is beyond what you see on social media, but that there are other things that you need to pay attention to. And I just pray that at the end of this program, you would have gotten enough wisdom to make better choices. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. May I call you Nika? Oh, Mrs. Nika. All right.
Nika.
All right, it's fine. Thank you. If I may ask, your first impression, your open sentence, what would it be for the first? You just looking at the topic, what comes to mind? What are your expectations, and what do you intend to share with the audience today?
I've been asked to speak about media versus reality when it comes to relationships. And what I want to do for you is to let you understand the hidden truth about marriages that are not popularly said out there. So what I really want to share with you is the things you should pay attention to beyond the couple goals that you see out there, the hashtag couple goals and all those beautiful Ashwebi stuff and all. I just want you guys to understand the reality. So my focus here is reality, the reality of relationships. That's my focus. And someone's asking me if I've read most of this book. Yes, I've read some of them. These are my books and my husband's book. So I've read some, and then for some, I'm yet to read them.
Okay, thank you. We're hanging out. So, Mrs. Adeleke, what are your first thoughts, your first line of message to us?
Okay, understanding that
Okay, go on, Miss Grandma.
marriage, it's a real deal, and that the life of marriage, the reality of marriage is on earth, not online, and that there is a huge difference between what you see on social media and what happens in the real space of life. That's what comes to my mind when I look at the topic. And also that couple or those in relationship should not Facebook their issues and problems, but rather they should face them from the place of healthy communication so that they can grow and enjoy the real beauty of relationship and marriages. Thank you.
Number one, validation officer. 2, production pharmacist. 3, quality.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Mrs. Adeleke. It's interesting. So as I was thinking about the topic, I was going through the internet to get some facts about social media, and I got some statistics. And we have like 2 videos to watch, which will guide our discussion today.
Okay.
It's interesting that there are over 400 million edited outfits and beauty posts on Instagram, 400 million. So that should tell you that reality is totally different from the social media. There are 87% of women compare their bodies to images they see in the media. 50% of those women make unfavorable comparison when they look at the images. So it is important to know that this thing actually affects us psychologically, even if we pretend that it's not that important. For some, I think. The statistics even say 45% of US teens say they are almost constantly online. 85% of all millennials use social media. Now, this is what busts my brain. It said 90% of babies have a presence on social media before their 2nd birthday. That is interesting to me because I think I got onto social media after I finished the university. So the trend is going towards people thinking that they are incomplete unless they are on social media, if I can use that word. I don't know what your thoughts are in line with the statistic that I just shared, Mrs. Adeleke.
Well, it's quite interesting with what you have drawn out. And yeah, that is true. That is true. People compare themselves, to what they see on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and all over the place. And unfortunately, comparison is the thief of joy, So they lose intimacy, they lose friendship because of, the lifestyle they see on Instagram or on social media. They feel that if I am not in that space, then I have not arrived. And then those that are in the space, you see singles compare themselves to other singles. You see married compared, there are people comparing their marriages to what they see on social media. You see moms comparing themselves to moms on social media. And it just goes on and on and on. But they forget the fact that some of those shapes that they see are photoshopped. They are not the exact shape. They forget that sometimes the complexions also are not real. They have been worked on, and so somebody is like, look at this person, this one is looking good, this one looks this way, this one acts this way. Oh, mine is not like that. My nose is not straight. My eyes are this, all my life is just messed up, relationship-wise. They just compare themselves unnecessary, and thereby bringing themselves nothing but pain. And so everybody, not everybody, let me not say everybody, a lot of persons, from the statistics you see, a lot of persons in that space are only people that are actually sincere enough, genuine enough and mature, let me use the word matured enough, to understand that this social media is quite different from the reality of life. It is not as it is. There are two different worlds. And if one is not careful,
You're muted, ma.
I need to release myself from here.
Okay, ma. We didn't hear the last sentence. Can you please repeat?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. So like you said, yeah, the statistics are alarming, but we should understand that social media being there, that is not the real world. There are good things about it. There is a negative and a positive aspects, but let us not get carried away by all that we see there, because everything we see there, a lot of it is just cosmetics, it's just makeup, it's not the real thing. And those of us that are in that space also, we could actually be real, instead of just carrying only what is not real or ideal to the physical world. But let us understand that there are two different worlds. The social media space is quite different, from the physical world. So let's not get carried away by everything that we see. People put their babies there, their relationship there. Doesn't mean that we also need to do that. Just be yourself and live. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll move to Nika. 87% of women compare their bodies to images they see in the media. 42% of people aged 18 to 29 reported their partners were distracted by cell phone use when together. I'd like to get your reaction to those statistics. Nika. Hello, this is Fola Bade. Are you there?
Okay, thank you for the question. The statistics is just a function of, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I'm speaking. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Can any other person hear me?
I can hear you.
Now?
Yes, I can hear you.
If you can hear me, you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I said, wow, the statistics is quite it's quite amazing. Yeah, I'm speaking already. Yes. Please, can other people use the comment to let us know if it seems like we are both not hearing ourselves well or something? Can I go on now?
Yes, I can hear you.
You are breaking a bit. That's just it. You are breaking a bit, but we can hear you. You are breaking a bit.
We can hear you, but you are breaking.
Can we get to the chat? Like, can other people confirm that they can hear me clearly in case if it's the one not hearing me, so that I can continue?
We can hear you, but the line is just breaking. So, but you can continue. Go ahead, please.
My work. Oops, I don't know what's happening. Oh, okay. All right. The network. On social.
I can't hear you. Oh, I think the network has bounced her out.
Yes, that's interesting. While we wait for her, I think we'll
Okay,
just
so
play the two
okay.
videos that we
Oh,
intend
okay.
to play today. Anu, over to you.
Did you know the average person spends 4 years of his life looking down? Did you know the average person spends 4 years of his life looking down at his cell phone? Kinda ironic, ain't it? How these touch screens can make us lose touch. But it's no wonder in a world filled with iMacs, iPads, and iPhones, so many eyes, so many selfies, not enough us's and we's. See, technology has made us more selfish and separate than ever. Cause while it claims to connect us, connection has gotten no better. And let me express first, Mr. Zuckerberg, not to be rude, but you should reclassify Facebook to what it is, an anti-social network. Cause while we may have big friend lists, so many of us are friendless all alone. Cause friendships are more broken than the screens on our very phones. We sit at home on our computers measuring self-worth by numbers of followers and likes. Ignoring those who actually love us, it seems we'd rather write an angry post and talk to someone who might actually hug us. Am I bugging? You tell me, cause I asked a friend the other day, let's meet up face to face. They said, all right, what time you wanna Skype? I responded with OMG, SRS, and then a bunch of SMHs and realized, what about me? Do I not have the patience to have conversation without abbreviation? This is the generation of media overstimulation. Chats have been reduced to snaps. The news is 140 characters. Videos are 6 seconds at high speed. And you wonder why ADD is on the rise faster than 4G LTE. But get a load of this. Studies show the attention span of the average adult today is 1 second lower than that of a goldfish. So if you're one of the few people or aquatic animals that have yet to click off or close this video, congratulations. Let me finish by saying you do have a choice, yes. But this one, my friends, we cannot autocorrect. We must do it ourselves. Take control or be controlled, make a decision. Me? No longer do I want to spoil a precious moment by recording it with a phone. I'm just gonna keep them. I don't want to take a picture of all my meals anymore. I'm just gonna eat them. I don't want the new app, the new software, or the new update. And if I want to post an old photo, who says I have to wait until Thursday? I'm so tired of performing in the pageantry of vanity and conforming to this accepted form of digital insanity. Call me crazy, but I imagine a world where we smile when we have low batteries. Cause that'll mean we'll be one bar closer to humanity.
Wow.
Thank you, Anu. I'll tell you when to play the second video. Thank you so much. I hope this resonates. I hope somebody thinks deeply about the words that that gentleman just shared on that video. But in my mind, when I was watching that video, the first question that came to my mind is it not that social media actually magnify the existing problem that we have in the society? So let me break that down. What it means to me is, I mean, those that have kids naturally will compare their kids with other kids in school and say, okay, my neighbor's kids is good in math, so mine must be. We go to parties together, we do ashwabi and stuff, and I watch the jewelries that you wear, and I feel under pressure naturally to go the extra mile to go and buy the same thing, or at least improve on the level that I am before the next time we meet. So it's amazing that I think the problem has always been in the society. It's just that technology just helped us to get a wider audience to compare ourselves to. In terms of culture, do you think that the social media page, I mean the social media buzz, just magnify the problem that already exists? Sis Adeleke.
Okay, now in life, for me, it depends on the aspect from which you look at things. Something may be created to give you pleasure. The way you go about handling it may bring pain. And like it says, when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So social media may have come, or the creators may intended that it might be for positive use. Maybe they never had all of this, drama in mind when they were creating it. Maybe they did. But mine is that you do not have control over what somebody says or the kind of life the person lives or what they do, but you have control over yours. You don't have control over the desires of the creators of the social media. You don't have control over those that go there posting whatever they want to post, but you have a control over what you can do with the social media, how you want to use the social media, whether to make or to mar you, or whether to your advantage or to your disadvantage. So it boils down a great deal to how we handle it. Because the social media, like I initially said, it's got the advantage, the good side and the bad side. It's just like we all know God gave us beautiful gifts, like marriage is a beautiful thing. Sex is beautiful, but the enemy came in to pervert it. We allow the enemy to pervert those things, you understand? And so God's blessing is now become more like a pain or a curse. So it depends on how you use it. If you have the understanding on how to use it to benefit your life and to people around you, good. But those that do not have the ability to use it positively will definitely use it to hurt themselves. Culture or no culture, it depends on how you see it. It depends on what you think of it, and it depends on what you intentionally and purposefully want to make out of it. Because it's not everybody on social media that compare themselves to what they see. It's not everybody on social media that want to come and exhibit their false relationship. It's not everybody that are, there are some people are having great relationship, but then they don't flaunt it all over the place. It's not everybody that has made their daily routines after social media. Some persons are still real and some persons are not moved by what they see, So whether culture or not culture, tradition or not tradition, what do you want? This thing is here. What do you want to make of it? How do you want to use it? So I think we individuals should look inward, do you understand? And then make the decisions and the choices. That's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Good to have you back, Nika. I hope your internet is stable now.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Do you want
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, very clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Very clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I see that she has answered 2 questions. I'll just merge the answers together. So what I was trying to say the other time is that when it comes to social media is a very good tool. And every single thing that God has created or given us the wisdom to create, the enemy also has an opportunity to also use it for the wrong advantage. And there are always people who would use it for good and those that will use it for the bad purposes, right? But what I see as the issue with our generation is not really the social media. I think it's an identity issue. I see that there is a lot of identity issue with people, and people use social media to fill the void that is in their hearts. I see emptiness issue. People feel very empty, and so they come to social media to impress other people or to impress themselves, to compare themselves. So there's the emptiness issue, right? And emptiness is a state of feeling like you are not good enough. Like you need someone to validate you need someone to approve you. And that's why you see that people would always look out for how many followers, how many likes, and how many of all those things that we have. I went to a business center one day and I saw this young boy, maybe let's say he's around, something on Facebook, and all of a sudden he had about 90 likes. And he started shouting in that business center, like, wow, I have 90 likes. And people were like, calm down. I'm like, why are you shouting over that? And I could look at him and see the fact that this guy feels liked, he feels loved because he has 90 likes. Do you know if he grew up in a family where they never told him, I love you, where they never really told him how valuable he is? And so when it comes on social media and see people that just say things they don't mean, people that just say things like, oh, I like you, oh, great stuff, hey, deep, blah, 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 but they're not even thinking about you. And then you start to measure your relevance and value based on them. So I think that, first of all, we need to deal with our identity issue, because, and also the issue of comparison. I remember a time when I went on social media years back and I started to, I was just on this lady's page. I saw her married picture, saw everything, her business was beautiful. And I started to look down on myself and say, there's nothing special about me. Look at this other lady, she's good, she's that. And I started crying. Like in just 30 minutes, I actually started to feel very bad of myself. And it took a positive thought to actually come to my mind and remind me that how can I sit down here and just compare myself to this person? And then I think 1 week later, I heard something bad about our marriage. And I'm not even trying to mock her, but I'm just trying to say that I actually spent like an hour just pitying myself because of something that I saw, not knowing the real thing that was actually happening to her, underneath it. So I'm going to say to you, what's your identity? What is the anchor of your identity? If your social media page goes off right now, like if right now Instagram sometimes just block out some people, what is going to happen to you? Are you going to keep living your life? Then when you come to social media to flirt with different people based on perception, you see a fine girl today, you see a fine boy tomorrow, and you're just like, wow, I love this person, I want to die for this person. Do you actually think that it is based on the beauty? Because I believe that people are spirits, and I like to judge people based on their spirit. I like to discern based on spirit. There are people who are very beautiful on the outside, they have the very physical, unique, and everything looks beautiful, but their soul is very, very dirty and their spirit is so broken. And so you cannot just build relationships based on what you're seeing alone. You have to be someone who can go beyond that. So I think my answer to that first point of, is it a good tool? Fantastic tool. We can use it to build the vision that we have for today. And just let me just say that the things that God has put in our heart to do, the purpose that God has given to us, we are going to be able to do most of them through this social media, because social media is how you reach the world. You cannot reach the world in your church or your mosque or just inside your house. No matter the number of programs you do beside your shop every single day, that's not the world. God has sent us into the nations to dominate, to fulfill the earth and all of that. And you're going to do this with social media, but are you doing it because you want to be liked? Do you want to be seen? Do you want to be, is that where your relevance is coming from? So social media can be good for your vision. It can be good for influence and impact. It can be good to connect with people and get married to them, right? As long as you take the right steps. So let me just stop there.
Thank you so much for your contribution. It means a lot. I took two things, comparison and identity. I'll come back to a question regarding that. But in the meantime, I just wanted to shift our mindset, because the first thing people think about when you compare social media to relationship is usually bad. You say, okay, you're comparing yourself, you're doing this. But there are actually good stories that come from this, from the from the social media space. I'd like to ask you two questions combined. One, is social media an invention of God or of men? And two, what are the good stories that you know from your experience that has come out of social media that you know that, okay, at least social media is a good tool in this area? Forget the gospel this time.
Okay.
I'll start with...
okay.
I'll start with Nika. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay, so social media is a tool from God, not from men. Let me say that. Yeah, the reason is the things that we do. Let me say this. The things, we're not trying to be religious here, but we cannot ignore God factor, right? the Bible says that there's a spirit in man. In the book of Job, there's a spirit in man who's the Almighty giveth understanding. What that means is, the Bible also says that in the last days, God is going to pour out the spirit upon all flesh, and there are going to be dreams and visions and all of that. What that simply means is that you don't have to be a Christian to innovate things or change the world or do the kingdom agenda, right? So when we're talking about the tools that we see right now, don't let's think it's Christianity. This is not about religion, Christianity kind of thing. When it comes to kingdom, the kingdom assignment itself, it doesn't matter who is available. If it is a Buddhist that can think up of social media and bring it up, he would do it. Because
Richmond Hill.
when it
Arrival
comes
time on
to
this route
things
is
like
similar to Highway
somebody's
404
having
North Whitchurch,
noise in the
Snowville,
background.
Bloomington
Please,
Road,
can we
Richmond Hill.
all mute our mics? You're not speaking.
Okay, so when it comes to things
Somebody
like
else talk.
Facebook and Instagram and Google and all these things, you quite know that no matter how religious Africans are, we do not seem to have the capacity, the social media, the network, or whatever it is that we're going to use to set up those kinds of things. We have brilliant minds here in Africa, definitely, but we don't have a good infrastructure. So if these things that we need, this social media, is going to come from someone in the Arab or someone from anywhere that has self-control, discipline, that knows how to discern what is coming in his mind, definitely is going to go to that person. That idea will go to that person. You know that ideas is like spirits. When an idea drops, it can drop on 1 million people. It is the person who has everything that it takes at that point. The person who is not going to sit down and procrastinate for the next 10 years or think that they need something or they need validation before they do it. The person who can sit down and say, let's get this started, let's collaborate and make this work. This person can be someone who doesn't even know God. So the fact that something comes into this world, it doesn't mean that it is from the devil. And you know, as Africans, when social media came, we said, oh, this one has come, oh, it's going to do this, going to do that. No, it's not like that. There is something called kingdom, and social media is one of the tools that is going to help the kingdom to be advanced. And when I say kingdom, I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm talking about people living the best life as God intended, whether it is in education, it is in business, religion, economy, having the great government, impacting lives here and there. Social media is going to be one of those things that will help us to catalyze it properly. So yes, it is an invention of God that was inspired into men. That is the best way to answer that, right? Then when it comes to the second question that you asked, what are the stories? I would say that social media has been of good to me. Like I started in the first place, if you do not get your identity right, you're going to get into trouble. When I started my journey into purpose 7 years back, I knew that I was sitting down in my room. You know, I was a student in school. I was tired of just going to school, going to church, market, just with my friends. I felt there was more to my life. And when purpose came knocking, the first thing I asked myself is, what else can I do? And then I went for a seminar that I paid for. And when I was done with that, I asked myself, the only thing that came to my mind is for me to start inspiring people on blog. I was using my blog and using social media. And the truth is, it was right from there that I started to do these things. I started to connect with different people from different parts of the world. And I've written like over 6 books. I'm currently working on 2 books right now. I met my mentors on Facebook, on Instagram. Today, the people that are serving as mentors or midwives to whatever it is that I'm doing, I met them all on social media. Every single person that has brought me to the level that I am today, I met them on social media. So when you come to my home page, I follow people who had value to me. I follow people that when I'm following them, my life is progressing. And if I'm following you and you're beginning to look like a tool of envy or whatever it is to me, I just mute you or I unfollow you. No stress, no story. There's no point. Why should somebody else be trying to control my life? If I feel like I'm not in a good state at that point while following this person, I remove you, right? So if you're following people that make you fall into lust and fall into perversion and all sort of things, you choose to follow those people. You can actually connect to people that would help your life on social media. So what are you using social media to do? What are you using it to do? To just follow all the trends. And then we have people who follow some kinds of people and they become their gods and idols, celebrities. And so you live your life based on what these people do. and you think that you have to follow what they do. No, you don't always have to be like people. People can teach you something. It doesn't mean that they should be the one to determine your values and morals. I hope that you get what I'm saying. So I have gotten my story of influence and impact today has been through social media. I think that's the best way to answer that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mrs. Adeleke, you want to react to the question?
Okay, yeah. Interestingly, I'm standing with Mrs. Nike. You know, like I said initially, even the gifts of God, you know, the beautiful things that God has given us with, you know, we allow the enemy to perverse. So it depends on how you want to use it. If you use it for good, it will benefit you. Now, understand that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. There is no wisdom, you know, knowledge that man's got that is not from God. It is God that has given man the idea. It is man that has given man the strength and the energy to push it through. So in a way, yes, it is a gift from God. Now, if we look at it, if you look at the advantages, you know, vis-a-vis the disadvantage, you know that the advantage will far outweigh, you know, the disadvantages. And so it's a beautiful thing. And like I said, it depends on how you use it. If you are intentional and purposeful about it, you will get the very best from social media. It says, seest thou a man diligent in his work, you know, or the Bible that said the hand that beareth rule. Now, it didn't talk about, it didn't say, seest thou a Christian diligent. It said, thou a man. There are some laws of God that covers all humanity. It does not matter whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, or Hindu, or whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you are falling in line, such a law will work for you. And this happens to be one of those ones. Seest thou a man diligent in his business, he will stand before kings and not ordinary men. It didn't say, seest thou a Christian, you know, diligence. No, it's a man. So anybody, you know, when the idea came, somebody caught it and decided to run with it. But the enemy, you know, in its own way, wants to come and pervert. And that can only be because we allow the enemy into the space. If you don't allow, you know, perversion into your space, perversion will not thrive in your space. So you and I have a responsibility to guard our heavens so that the hell outside will not come in and invade our heaven, you know. So we have a responsibility, and it depends on how you see it. What do you go to do with the social media? For me, the good stories in social media, it's been good for me. It's been good for me. Now, I would not say that I have not fall into the trap or the prey of looking at all of those likes. Wow, you know, I have seen a trend that a lot of times the things that are good and beneficial and promote a lot of time, you know, they don't have a lot of likes there. And I've seen that things that don't really make sense, you know, they have so much likes. I was like, what's happening here? I'm just giving out some good stuff, life-saving things, and nobody is liking it, you know. And look at what this person is posting, and everybody just liking over just a few minutes, you know. But I called myself and say, hey, this idea didn't come from me. God gave me this idea, so I still went ahead to run with it. Whether they like it or not, it does not matter. Now, also, my mind told me that it's not everybody that will actually comment on it. Some people just look at it, glean what they want to glean, and then move on with the good they have received. You may not know. Recently, I put on a challenge, laughter challenge. You know, just laugh for a few minutes every morning, you know, practicing happiness. You know, and I went to them and saying, I wasn't really seeing the kind of pouring in that I was expecting. But there was this calm within me that you didn't send yourself the assignments. You know, just you have obeyed. So leave God to do the remaining that He wants to do. Somebody had seen that thing. Somebody that needs it will see it, will pick it up and walk and run with it. And that was exactly what, because I actually received calls that, yes, this thing was of a good benefit or a blessing to me. I enjoyed it. I had it. So social media as positive. Now, stories again, a lot of persons that I've met that have been of huge blessing to me in my career and my training have always been from social media. Now, 90% of my courses, my trainings that I've gotten from the UK, US, Nigeria, and all over, they were done online. They were done online. So social media is absolutely good. People have, gone there to receive treatment, self-care methods for themselves. It is absolutely good. People have gone there to find meaning, to get understanding. So it is absolutely good. Zoom meetings, I'm talking to clients. Right now, my office is the internet. The entire world is my office. The entire world is my workspace. So if not for social media, I won't have the opportunity to contact, I'll be in touch with my clients that are all over the world as at this point in time. So it is a good thing because I have gone there to learn things, I have gone there to grow. I have gone there to grow. And I know so many people also that have gone into that space to grow and to glean and take things that will benefit and profit them. However, I repeat again, how do you see it? You don't have a control over what people throw around, but you have a control what to say no to and what to accept. Be wise and smart enough to know what is good for you, what is beneficial for you, and what you need to discard. But social media is good because if you put it side by side, the good will outweigh the bad of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your response. That makes sense. I like to give the audience a chance. Is there a reaction? Is there somebody that has a social media story that you want to share? Are there questions? We're hanging out. We're supposed to be throwing so much question to the panelists and we gist it away. Is there anybody that has any question? I'll mention names though. I'm getting vibes that the conversation is too serious. We're not gisting.
Hello, host. How are you?
Hi.
Is it a question or just a comment?
I just want to hear from the audience.
Okay. All right. Good evening or good afternoon, good day, everybody. I don't think it's a coincidence that a few minutes ago before I logged on, I was just talking to my friend in Nairobi. And, this friend, I met her on Instagram, and I've met amazing people on Instagram. So we just, kind of like had that conversation today. So I'm just hopping on the fact that social media, I know that someone said something about, people just maybe not liking your comments or your posts and not also leaving comments. I'm one of those people. I don't like posts, I don't comment, but I'll soak it in and, I'll take whatever you have to offer. So that's just basically what I want to say, that it's a meeting point for different people. And people should leverage on that. Like this friend, I just loved that she loved to travel. And I started following her. And along the way, we just became best friends. Now we're sharing intimate, details of our lives, intimate parts of our lives that goes beyond our meeting point or our meeting connection, which is travel. So, I mean, we're talking business ideas, we're talking like partnering and so many other things. I mean, you can really discover anything and everything on social media. And I love the fact that someone said something about, idea being a spirit. I don't think I've heard that before. So now that whenever I have an idea, I will gauge where that idea is coming from. Is it from God? It is like, and is it from God because I'm a Christian? Or is it just me? And if it's just me, where is that foundation coming from? Is it from a selfish point of view? Is it for to inspire, to change, to be a catalyst, or to be a problem solver? So I will start looking at my ideas from that lens. But I would tell you, like, crazy things have happened to me on social media. I've had someone go through my profile and they found out that I loved Chocomilo. You know Chocomilo? Yes, I do love
Yeah.
it. And this person, I don't know this person as of that time. This person mailed me Chocomilo. Like she just got into my DM and she was like, I have Chocomilo just in my house. How can I mail it to you? And I know, like, when I got the Chocomilo, people were like, babe, what if it's poison? What if it's like, and I was like, it's just something that I like. I feel like this person is just showing love to me, and I accepted that. And I can confess that that friendship has also grown to, we've been friends now for like 7 years. So
Wow.
at some point, I'm going to buy an Instagram share because Instagram has been a blessing to my life. I'm a very private person, but I hover around Instagram and just do my thing and disappear. So don't feel bad if people are not responding to your post. People like me are not responding to your post or are not commenting. We are soaking up your information. It is inspiring. It is leading us directly. We are taking those tools and it is working in our lives. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
Thank you, Tobechukwu. Thank you so much. Any other audience want to speak? Mr. Konde, I have not heard from you today. Simi, you have not spoken. Sorry, somebody raised.
Okay. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Sorry,
Okay.
raise first, then Mr. Lawrence. I'm so sorry.
Who first?
You first.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So the thing with like social media, I think like every tool that is out there, you have to understand where you fall into, like what category of user are you? Are you a creator or are you someone that takes content? So if you're a creator, the way that you would go out for likes will be different or should be different. There are actually like systemic ways of going out for likes, because as much as we know, we want to encourage each other, and I actually do. Likes is also an indication of your reach, especially if you have a business account. You can see people who have viewed your post, and then you can compare it. Is it that people are viewing my post but not liking it? Or is there, then you can now say, okay, I want to know if what I'm doing is right, or maybe the way that I'm passing my message is different. Maybe there's something I can improve on. Then you can do a survey, because Instagram has that tool where you can write a story and ask people questions, and then you can gauge people's pulse. If you're a content creator, you need to be a little bit more deliberate about these things. And I say that because it's like, if you put up a billboard as a business, you won't just put out your content there without gauging the impact on people. Like, people will spend millions of dollars or millions of naira on billboard. They ask the agency for feedback. How are they gauging it? What is the impact of this billboard? So the same way, we have to be, and even if the idea is directly inspired by God, like God told you this thing, you still have to be a good steward unto God and gauge that impact of that content. Having said that, you also have to realize that your ideas are not yours. You just do your own part in diligence, and in due time, there are people who started their show years. You know, when Oprah started her Oprah show, and if I was still putting on panties and running around the street. And now Oprah is Oprah. She owns her own TV network. It did not like take over the world overnight. So just do your own part diligently, improve your craft, understand how to reach a wider net and a targeted audience on social media, because there is a science to it. Now, that's for content creators. Now, if you take content, it's funny that we're talking about this thing this morning. The Bible says, test all things to see that they are true. And it also says, you go back and go and check, even if you're not a Christian, whatever it is that you believe in, whatever your beliefs, even if you're an atheist, at least you will have value system. And if you don't have value system, that is the problem. If you're a content consumer, you just don't soak everything in. You take what aligns with you. Remember that your own person, you have to come into your personality. And I used to be somebody that, if I didn't really care for likes, but I cared about how I looked on social media. So if I don't really use makeup, but I have to dress a certain way, you have to press their neck, you have to pack up, and everything. But now I really don't. I've come into my own person. I don't need anybody's validation. I am self-validated and validated by God. That I feel good with myself regardless of what I wear. So if the camera catches me at any point in time, I'll say, hold on, let me do pancakes. No, I won't say that. So as a content consumer, I feel like we just need to be like more like deliberate, like guard your mind. Don't let everything soak in. Sometimes things soak in without you even knowing, Let me tell you, it's later on that you not be like, oh God, I'm actually thinking about this thing that I watched. So you just have to guard your mind, come to an awareness of yourself, be more self-conscious, and know that people mostly put up their phones when things are good. If you watch all this reality TV show and you watch the uncut version, you will know that there is a total difference. Like all these reality shows, I remember one, I'm sorry if I'm talking too long, but I remember one that it's married on first sight. So when they now did like a recap, in that show, people get married without knowing each other. They get married on the day that they see each other. They trust the science and research to match them up. And the day you're going to see your spouse, your bride, is the day that they are walking down the aisle. Anyway, so they start living together and decide to stay married or to divorce after 5 weeks. One of the couples that did not get married, when they asked the guy why, he said because this lady was also sweet and nice on camera, but the moment the camera was off, that old ghetto and bougie comes out and she's like tapping her hand, snapping her things, smacking her lips and all of that. But the moment camera crew comes in like this, oh my, this guy is in the streets. So realize that that's what happens on social media. People disguise a lot on social media. Don't be fooled by all that glamour and glitz. There's more to life than that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simi. Thank you for your contribution. If you have any other contribution or question, can you please drop in the chat box? We'll pick it up and we'll discuss it. I don't know if this is a good time to play the second video, then I'll ask all the questions that we have. Anu, can you please play the second video? Thank you.
You need to make me the host.
Okay. It's done. Anu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm
Hello,
trying to
Anu.
put the video at the exact spot so that it will just go straight. 1 minute, please. I'm coming.
Thank you.
I have 422 friends, yet I'm lonely. I speak to all of them every day, yet none of them really know me. The problem I have sits in the spaces between looking into their eyes or at a name on a screen. I took a step back and opened my eyes. I looked around and realised that this media we call social is anything but when we open our computers and it's our doors we shut. All this technology we have, it's just an illusion. Community, companionship, a sense of inclusion. Yet when you step away from this device of delusion, you awaken to see a world of confusion. A world where we're slaves to the technology we mastered, where information gets sold by some rich, greedy bastard. A world of self-interest, self-image, self-promotion, where we all share our best bits but leave out the emotion. We're at our most happy with an experience we share, but is it the same if no one is there? Be there for your friends, and they'll be there too, but no one will be if a group message will do. We edit and exaggerate, crave adulation. We pretend not to notice the social isolation. We put our words into order until our lives are glistening. We don't even know if anyone is listening. Being alone isn't a problem. Let me just emphasise, if you read a book, paint a picture, or do some exercise, you're being productive and present, not reserved and recluse. You're being awake and attentive and putting your time to good use. So when you're in public and you start to feel alone, put your hands behind your head, step away from the phone. You don't need to stare at your menu or at your contact list. Just talk to one another. Learn to coexist. I can't stand to hear the silence of a busy commuter train where no one wants to talk through the fear of looking insane. We're becoming unsocial. It no longer satisfies to engage with one another and look into someone's eyes. We're surrounded by children who, since they were born, have watched us living like robots and think it's the norm. It's not very likely you'll make world's greatest dad if you can't entertain a child without using an iPad. When I was a child, I'd never be home. Be out with my friends on our bikes we would roam. I'd wear holes in my trainers and graze up my knees. We'd build our own clubhouse high up in the trees. Now the park's so quiet it gives me a chill. See no children outside and the swings hanging still. There's no skipping, no hopscotch, no church and no steeple. We're a generation of idiots, smartphones and dumb people. So look up from your phone, shut down the display. Take in your surroundings, make the most of today. Just one real connection is all it can take to show you the difference that being there can make. Be there in the moment that she gives you the look that you remember forever as when love overtook. The time she first holds your hand or first kiss your lips. The time you first disagree but still love her to bits. The time you don't have to tell hundreds of what you've just done because you want to share this moment with just this one. The time you sell your computer so you can buy a ring for the girl of your dreams who is now the real thing. The time you want to start a family and the moment when you first hold your little girl and get to fall in love again. The time she keeps you up at night and all you want is rest. And the time you wipe away the tears as your baby flees the nest. The time your baby girl returns with a boy for you to hold, and the time he calls you granddad and makes you feel real old. The time you take in all you've made just by giving life attention, and how you're glad you didn't waste it by looking down at some invention. The time you hold your wife's hand, sit down beside her bed, you tell her that you love her, lay a kiss upon her head. She then whispers to you quietly, as her heart gives a final beat, that she's lucky she got stopped by that lost boy in the street. But none of these times ever happened. You never had any of this. When you're too busy looking down, you don't see the chances you miss. So look up from your phone, shut down those displays. We have a finite existence, a set number of days. Don't waste your life getting caught in the net, as when the end comes, nothing's worse than regret. I am guilty too of being part of this machine, this digital world we are heard but not seen, where we type as we talk and we read as we chat, where we spend hours together without making eye contact. So don't give in to a life where you follow the hype. Give people your love, don't give them your like. Disconnect from the need to be heard and defined. Go out into the world, leave distractions behind. Look up from your phone, shut down that display. Stop watching this video, live life the real way.
Thank you so much, Anu. Thank you. That was an eye opener. When I watched the video, I just had plenty questions in my mind. Mrs. Adeleke, what do you think is the impact of social media on relationship? Does it create unrealistic expectations? Does it lead to jealousy? Does it lead to couples fighting? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Okay. You see couples in one space together physically, but they are not together actually because each person is probably holding on to his or her phone. For some persons, it's the first point of call every morning and the last thing every day. They wake up with the phone, they go to bed with the phone. The couples are probably together, partners are together, and then one person is on there with phone. I remember my husband had done that to me also, we were together in the room and on the bed, he was like, I'm here and you are still pressing phone. My friend dropped that phone, so I just looked at him and I said, drop the phone, so I just laughed and, I dropped the phone. He actually had been away for some time, he got back and me, I was answering some WhatsApp messages and responding to message. I was like, drop it, So when we are so given to our social media, not paying attention, it means that we are losing intimacy with one another. It means that, friendship with our partners will always, dwindle. It also gives room for cheating and emotional flirting. Some persons have met, through social media and they've held, they've become so fond of each other that the initial partner doesn't know much about the other partner. Some of them have led to physical cheating. We have known some like that also, And then you also have cases where people get so addicted, just as some persons are addicted to drug and some other thing. Some persons are addicted to social media and to their phones. The temptation of comparison, that cannot be overemphasized. That is huge also. And like I said before, comparison is the thief of joy. Just like they say, procrastination is the thief of time, Comparison steals your peace, steals your joy. So we also have people where they compare themselves, their looks, they compare their relationship. I look at this people's relationship, I look at my relationship, they compare sex life. Excuse me, there's some person that feels that, he's not getting the kind of sex that he wants from his woman. Why? Because he has seen some sex online and he feels that the woman should give him sex the way he saw, not thinking or remembering that one was actually, just some sort of movie or was a makeup or they were just, it was a sex film. So it has affected so many areas, so many, so many problems in relationships. And the thing is, since we always want to post things to look good in the eyes of people, there is a temptation to want to maintain that picture that we have given the world, that false picture, that deception that we have given the world, So there is a temptation to maintain that false image. So you want to work a lot harder to sustain that image, public image you have created. And trust me, it could be very, very overwhelming. It could be very, very overwhelming. So the disadvantages or the problems, yes, they are enormous. And then too much on social media also means that you are not having enough time to engage with your physical partner. So if you have, maybe you guys are spending 6 hours in a day at home outside office, and out of the 6 hours, you are spending 4 hours on your phone. How much time do you have to actually engage with your partner to talk about real deep issues? So it affects the engaging period, it affects communication, it affects, nurturing our relationships, it affects, our sincerity and our genuinity. It affects, our bonding with our children also. It affects even our work. It will affect, And for those that are dating also, if you go onto social media to post everything you have ever done together, you post the lady or the guy's picture all over your wall, everywhere you are together. Excuse me, if you were not meant to be together and you part ways, what is going to happen? Are you going to pull on that post, that page, and create another page and be single? And then when another person comes, say, hi, the other dude is gone. He's the new guy on the block. So it doesn't really make, we just sell ourselves out unnecessarily, you know, and also security-wise, it's not so smart because so many persons have been attacked, you know, physically because of what others have seen on their status, on their Facebook or Instagram pages. So if you go ahead to put all your life on social media, okay, like I think last year, thereabout, somebody was coming, okay, no, before COVID, somebody was coming into Nigeria. While they were leaving UK, they posted it, she posted it that they were leaving and coming to Nigeria. When they got to the airport in Lagos, she posted it. When they were going home, she posted it. When they were in Keke Marwa, she posted a few days after, you know, when they were going to, they was like, this is not wisdom. You are just unduly selling, you know, your life in the public, opening yourself up for attack. So yes, social media can affect relationships very, very deeply. You may be able, you want to compare your husband to the other. And you know, the funny thing is that a lot of times it is a one-man show. One person is doing all the posting, painting a particular life for the public, but the other partner isn't in that show at all. The other partner is living in the unpleasant reality, while this person is living in our own or his own reality, posting all. So a lot of times it's a one-man journey. It's not every time that I see two of them posting all the things together. Sometimes it's just one person posting everything and the other person doesn't really buy in. I've seen a case where two couples were fighting very, very dirty, you know. As the guy just finished talking and stormed upstairs, the lady picked up her phone and started, yeah, guys, so happy weekend, we're rolling, you know, and, you know, so there's a lot of falsehood, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of wisdom that needs to come to play. If not, our relationships will be affected. If not, our relationships will be affected. It will breed insecurity. It will breed unnecessary stress, you know, just because you want to keep up with that false life that you have created. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. You hold nobody, no explanation. Just ensure that you are living your life to please yourself. Please yourself and not any other person. Wherever you think you are, you know, don't let social media give you an identity. Who are you? Find out who you are and run with that vision of who you are. Don't let anybody give you a name that you don't have. Don't let people, you know, give you falsehood. Don't let people give you false identity. Don't try to look good. I have somebody, if you spend all your entire life, you know, wanting to be like this other person, who is going to end up being like you? Who is going to live your life? Who is going to be like you? So without apology, live your life. Because if we take too much to social media, the disadvantages are a lot. Depression is one of those things. Anxiety is one of those things. I've seen so many people, you know, suicide. You know, we've seen the trends. We've seen the trends. So the pain is a lot. But like I said again, you have a choice. You have a choice. What you want to do with social media, you have the control, if only you can exercise it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Adeleke. Welcome back, Nika. I just asked, what's the impact of social media on relationship? Does it lead to jealousy? Does it lead to couples fighting? Does it create unnecessary, unrealistic expectations? What would be your reaction to that? Nika, do we have you? Okay. While we're waiting for Nika, I have another question, and that question is around the playing field for cheating in relationship. Has social media expanded that field for couples to cheat? Because I know that easily, if you want to, before you have to go out, look for the person or meet the person somewhere, a club or a bar, before you can say, okay, I see this babe, I like the babe, and I'm trying to cheat on my girlfriend. But now I just need to log on social media and I look at your picture, you're fine, I slide into your DM and I start chasing you. what would be your thoughts around, because that's one of the impact of social media, and we can't shy away from it.
Yes, it both ways. It is good and it's bad, but you have the control, like I said. Yes, it has, like I mentioned a while ago, that promoted cheating. Okay, now what's our definition of cheating in the first place? Are we just talking about okay, you went to have sex with some other person, she went to have sex with some other person, that was cheating? No, cheating is not just one person, one partner going to, have sex with another person outside. No, see, I tell my husband, if you use my time for some other person, some other thing, you are cheating on me. I tell him that if you use my time that is meant for me for some other person, you get back, he returned home sometime, and I think around 9:30, 10, he was in there. I said, no, drop your phone. Everything you've been doing from morning to night is past. This is me time, it's my time. So if you're not dropping your phone, that means you are using my time and you're cheating. So what's your definition of cheating? So when the things that you are meant to do together, you not turn your back and you are doing those things alone for your own benefit, I call it cheating. So physical sex doesn't have to be in place for there to be cheating. Yes, social media has in a way enabled people to cheat. Why? Because they did not have the power. They were not intentional enough to block those aspects. There's such a thing as emotional flirting. When you turned everything about you to this other person. It's the first point of call in the morning, all day is the person, and then night, the last person before you talk to. Meanwhile, you have a spouse. That is emotional flirting, and you are cheating on your spouse. So it is absolutely possible for people to actually cheat on each other with social media. So when you use the time that is meant for your spouse or your family for that particular person for social media, you are cheating on your spouse. So it's not just only about sex. Now, it's not only about sex. And we know that even in the aspect of sex, there's so now the sex text and all of that, people sending nude pictures to each other and all of that. So yes, that is the impact when it comes to, cheating on the spouse. But cheating doesn't have to do with only having sex. No, whenever you spend what is beneficial for the two of you, alone for your own benefit, is cheating. So the time that is meant for your family, the time that is meant for your spouse, the time it should be used for communicating, talking about serious things, bonding together, laughing and playing together in your space. You are using it on social media, for your own, only for your own benefit. Then you are cheating on your spouse, you are cheating on your partner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma. Welcome back, Nika. I see you joined again. Thank you so much for joining. We're just talking about the impact of social media on relationship, and we're talking about cheating. I just asked that, does social media expand the field to cheat to couples? Because easily before, when there were no social media, I have to go out and look for the person I want to talk to before I talk to that person. But now there's a level, there's a wider reach to, all I need to do, go on Instagram, check the handle of that person that I like, and I start chatting with the person. What would be your view to that?
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry about the network. Like, I'm using 3 different networks now. I don't know what's happening.
Right.
Okay, so let's hope it's stable now. So about relationships and social media impacts, I feel that first of all, we have lost the true meaning on what relationship is about, what committed relationship is. And that's because we've seen a lot of things happen on social media, and a lot of people are now moved by sensuality, anything that gives pleasure and fun, and not necessarily that being able to stay committed to someone. So one of the issues with this generation is that we do not understand the concept of commitment or process when it comes to even how outside of relationship, we want things to other people. Now, when it comes to relationships do not work if you do not put in effort, if you do not put in time, or you put in your energy, your discussion, communication, and all those things. But we want things to come easy to us. So when you get into a relationship and it's not really going as smooth as you want, you just move into social media. But then beyond all of that, let me say something about one of the things I've been sent to tackle. One of the reasons why you see people go on social media and just do all sort of things is that a lot of people have grown up with this thing I call the spirit of rejection. There's this rejection plaguing people from their growing up age, growing up without emotional connection with their parents, absent fathers, absent mothers, emotional neglect, growing up and having overbearing parents or controlling parents, perfectionist parents, anything that is just plagued around rejection. So people grow up with this trauma and they just assume that they are fine. And then as they grow up, they begin to notice that they have this void. There's this thing about wanting to feel very special, wanting to feel very good, very validated. And so there are different ways that people channel this void. It's either they start to take drugs or start to club or start to drink or start to flirt online or watch pornography, masturbation. And I think the best way to explain this to you is I struggle with masturbation at over 15 years. And that's because I grew up not feeling the love that I wanted from my parents. I felt a bit rejected because I took their criticism and all of those things. I took it very personal. And that's because even our parents have their own issues. Most of us grew up seeing our parents in toxic marriages or separated homes and all of that. And then you grow up on your own. You're forced to grow up and become an adult by yourself. And the kind of love that you desire, you're not really getting it per se. So you start to date at a very young age. I started to watch porn, I think from the age of maybe 18 or no, not 18. I mean, maybe 7, 8, 9. I can't remember. And this baggage into their relationship and into cheats. It's not just coming from okay, because there's social media, I want to do it. There is a lot of baggage that people are carrying among themselves. There is this void that people are trying to fill, and they will fill it any way that they can. And flirting is something that is so common, even in marriages today. You see a lot of husbands and wives that are always chatting with other people's commitment to make that marriage work and just close up on other people. Then you start to, okay, since we're singles here, let's just make it relationship itself. If you don't understand why you're dating, you will just date everybody that comes around you. It's not everybody you meet that you should date. Relationships can be for partnership, can be for business related, but in our generation, the moment a guy and a girl meet, or a guy and a girl connect online, it has to be relationship. It is a mindset, an ideology that is like being pushed around the corner. It's like a narrative that makes it look as if it has to be that way. And when you look at the media, the songs that we listen to, the movies that we watch, everything is romantic, everything is sexual. This impacts our mindset, it impacts our belief system. And so even a random person who just feels that I just normal, I need to check out another girl. Why will I be in a relationship alone? I was listening to a song today from another car while I was sang it, but he was saying that today relationships are not as, and so they are double dating, but they're in a relationship. So he was trying to say that nobody's sincere anymore. Don't try to be in one relationship and all. This is a culture that is being to this song. When you listen to this kind of songs, what happens?
Nika, you're breaking. If you could kill the video, I think your network would be better.
Happens. It stays in you. You think that. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Very clear. No, very clear.
Okay. So I was giving an example of a song that I was listening to today from another car that was talking about how relationships don't work these days and how people are just living a pretentious life, double dating and all. Now, if that kind of song is being played and some people are listening to the song, if I was someone who was single and I do not really know who I am or what I want, I would listen to that song and just say that it's true. People are not real, so let me double date. So there are some ideologies that are being passed around in songs and movies today that now become our way of life. On like subconsciously, it just becomes something that begins to operate in our system where you are in a relationship, but you do not know you should make it work. But the thing is, every single thing that is happening, you going online to flirt and all of that, it still boils down to that rejection that you feel. The day that you discover your identity and discover who you are and become content with it, you will become someone who would see other fine girls and fine guys, and you will just appreciate them for who they are. You will not necessarily have to date them to feel like you want to be validated by them and all of that. I'm trying to just keep it in a very plain conversations, but there's so much more to this thing. Let's just keep it at rejection. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll just move quickly to some of the questions that I've written down. Thank you for your contribution so far. Are there, please, if you have a question or comment, can you please leave it in the chat box? I'll read them out. But in the meantime, I just wanted to ask, does social media make daily life seem less interesting? And I want to add one more question to that, so you can answer both at the same time. Does social media affect our mental health too? Some of the things that we post, some of, I mean, not me, but some of the things I would see on social media is when couples are dating and they just do whatever they've done and they will post the picture on social media just to show off that we're digging into, we're doing stuff and what have you. And you know, our kids, they have access to the internet, whether under your control or outside your control, one way or the other, they see these things. So my question is around mental health. Does it affect our mental health? And two, does it make life seem less interesting? I'll start with Mrs. Adeleke.
Thank you very much for your question. Life is to be lived intentionally and purposefully. Life is to be lived by choice. You have the decision, the power to say yes. You have the power to say no. But refusing to say yes when you should say yes and refusing to say no when you should say no will impact you. So social media doesn't make our lives less interesting. Before social media actually came, how was life? Wasn't life interesting? Before the invention of social media, were we not laughing? Were we not playing? Were we not sending messages to people? Yeah, times have changed, civilization comes up, you know, things are happening and very fast also. It doesn't have to. But to some persons, it may have made the lives of some persons less interesting, daily lives less interesting, but it does not have to. So it depends on how you are looking at it. What does it mean to you? What part does it occupy in your heart? How important, where on the list have you placed it? So life can see, I feel that it will not be interesting for people that are merely existing. For those that are living, social media or no social media, life will be interesting because they don't wait for life to just happen. They don't wait for life to throw things at them, those that are living. You know, they go after life and they grab it. They know what they want and they go reach for it and they grab it. So if one is waiting for life to just happen, life to throw things at you, then it will be boring. Life will be less interesting for you with social media. But then social media on its own does not have the capacity. Social media on its own does not have the capacity to make your life less interesting. If you give it that power, it will make your life less interesting. That's my take on that one. And then social media affecting our mental health. It still comes back to intention, choice. and purpose. I have created an heaven in me, within me. And I'm very, very careful to guard my heaven with you so that the hell that is outside does not come in to terminate or to contaminate the heaven that I have created within me. So what heaven have you created? And have you even realized that there is hell around the corner that can mess up your heaven? So social media can affect, one's mental health if the person does not understand why he or she is using social media. For some of us, it is purely for business. And I don't feel that. It's not everybody that should, or not all age levels that should be there. And I have seen people in real sense that social media has affected their mental health. Why? Their friends are posting, their friends have lots of likes, and they don't have any likes. So, oh, I'm not good enough. And so their self-worth begin to come down. Yeah, that is affecting their mental health. Also, for those that are over-posting, that are giving out a false sense of life, there is the desire, to always want to keep up with that level. And trust me, it could be very overwhelming also. So that could also affect, them. For those that compare themselves to others, yeah, every new thing that comes, they want that this babe is rocking, I have to rock also. And whatever it will cost me, I am going to get to that space. Yes, it could affect one's mental, but then it does not have to. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. So it depends on how we handle it. Now, even when social media wasn't there, a lot of things affected us. A man's upbringing can affect him. Our significant emotional experiences would affect, our mental health, our environment where we find ourselves, whether the internal or external environment would affect us. But fortunately, I say fortunately because social media is an external environment. The internal environment is more important than the external environment. So if you can take care of the internal environment, then you'll be able to take care of your mental health. So if you allow social media to have so much power over you, it will affect. And if you have given your power to social media, I counsel you, please take back your power so that you can get back your life and live a happy and fulfilling life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Quickly, can I get your reaction, Nike? And in addition to the question she answered, I'd like to know your view on how we can begin to regain our identity.
Okay, thank you very much. The first question is about mental health. And I would like to say I will say a few things about it. The first thing is, when it comes to mental health and social media, one of the things that happens is that our emotions actually connect the dots for us. Like between social media and yourself, your mental health, there's emotions in between, and we have different kinds of emotions. And every single time you find yourself on social media, you need to ask yourself, what kind of emotion is social media bringing forth in me? And I'm going to give you examples. Number one is, most times people get into depression because they feel they are failed or they feel underachieved when they see other people who continue to post their new achievements. And one thing about it is that we are all in different stages of life. So I can be in stage D and the other person is in stage F, for instance. I wasn't there when the person was going through A, B, C, D, E, F, and all of that. But this person is all of a sudden in F, G, H. Me, I am still in D. I need to treasure where I am. I need to understand where I am. I need to be able to say that, okay, this is what I'm currently achieving now, and be able to be content while I move forward. But people come on social media, they see other people doing great stuff, people on platforms, people posting bling bling and doing Pepper Them Gang and all these things, and they begin to feel failed, like they are failed internally. They begin to feel stressed, like, oh, what do I need to do? There's this pressure that just comes on people, and they just feel like they have to run. And so you see people who go and borrow stuffs, people who go and, these days when people go to hotels or go to invest center, or they have this very good background, or they are beside a very beautiful car, they snap pictures because they want to post it on social media and prove that they also have cars like this in their compound, even though it's not their own. There are people who dress up every day to go to certain estates or certain places to just go and take pictures that they're going to post for that very week. And the question is, why do we need to do that? We have people who borrow hair. You go to your friend's place, they have nice hair and shoes there. You put it on, you snap pictures, and then you come and post with it so that people can feel that you belong. So there's this desire to belong that also then causes internal failure for people, feeling underachieved. At the same time, there's this expectation as to where you should be now. I was reading an article where people said that most of the businesses that are thriving in Nigeria, that are recognized by the foreign investors, are people who have either gone to school in abroad who have networks with those who are in abroad. And if you are trying to compare yourself to them, remember that Nigeria, there's so many issues that we are currently facing. While you're being successful at what you have, you're even making 200K every month. That should be content for you at first. But you see somebody else that is making 1 million, you don't even know the source of the money. There was this person that we all used to know about. What's his name? Is it I can't remember his name now. He stays in Dubai and would always post pictures of wristwatch and all of these things. Is it Chop Money? I can't even remember his name.
Puppy.
I'm sure some of you know. Hush Puppy. There was a day someone was telling me about him, and I was forced to just go and check out what I was seeing. And I just started seeing all sorts of wristwatches, bags, and all sorts of things. There were many people who would always go there and just be like, wow, when am I going to be like this person? But you know that what you're doing is legal and it is content. You can even live on it. You're not celebrating yourself. You are there looking at somebody else who is living a fake life just to impress you, right? And then we have people that when someone posts their wedding pictures, they will say, God, when? And in my mind, I'm thinking, why do you think you have to go on social media to be asking God when? Like, you definitely need to find yourself beyond social media. You need to stop this chasing what other people are doing. See, recently, this very year, I stopped following 3 of my friends. It is not because I just felt like the way they were posting certain things was making me feel as if I wasn't doing anything. And I had to be true to myself. It doesn't matter how far you've gotten. You need to be true to yourself. The moment you discover that somebody is putting you under pressure, if you don't have the capacity to handle it at that point, you can unfollow the person that moment. And when you feel better about your identity and where you are, you can come back and start following that person, right? So there's the issue of, let me say something else. There's this thing about spending too much time on social media, television, and all these things that causes a dopamine spike. Let's call it dopamine spike. It means that the more you spend time, so dopamine is this hormones that is released in your body that gives you so much energy, right? That makes you feel good. Now, when you spend too much time on social media and television and everything that gives you pleasure every time, your brain begins to adjust in such a way that it needs you to constantly renew the desire for that thing so that you can feel very good. Now, the issue with it is that as humans, we need to practice what I call critical thinking time. When you're looking at other people who are achieving great stuff there in the abroad or whatever, they're just manifesting here and there. It is because they sit down and they can say to themselves, this is what we want to achieve. We want to change the world. We want to change Africa. We want to change it. They sit down, they come together, they think. We are not thinking. How can you think if you spend 8 hours on social media? You wake up and the first thing you touch is your phone. Before you sleep, it is your phone. What is going on? And then the more your brain is getting used to the number of hours you're spending getting in this dopamine spike, the next day you need to continue to give it that same dopamine spike. So the way you readjust your brain is to begin to drop your phone sometimes. Like decide that you want to just drop your phone for 2 hours and just take a book and read it. Like read book. If you cannot read book, sit down and think and just write. I'm saying this with all the passion in my mind. I just feel so, I'm just wondering like, why are people just on social media every single moment? No, sometimes have social media breaks. Like for 3 days now, I've not posted anything on social media. Why? Because I don't have to. Because my life does not exist by doing that, right? At the same time, when you start to catch the vision of God, your purpose of living on earth, your time on social media will reduce because you will discover that there's a burden. There is so much calamity going on in this world. The poor people need help. This one needs help. This place, they need help. And you are the solution. It is not, God is not going to send angels to come and solve this solution. It is you and I that will solve it. The day you catch the vision of God, you would actually become more intentional about what you're doing on social media, right? So back to, so there's something else you also mentioned. We have this desire to always be seen. We want to inform everybody about what we're doing. So you go somewhere, you give someone 10,000 and you will post it that, oh, I went somewhere today, I gave someone, you know, we think we're doing social works, and so we always post everything. It doesn't always have to be that way. Do you understand? Now back to the next question of, I think you asked another question around, please remind me. Okay, you mentioned something about
How do we start to regain our identity?
Okay, how do we regain our identity? The first thing I would say is that right now, be sincere with yourself. One of the things you want to do is to sit down and write again. And I want you to answer these questions. What defines me? What defines me? Is it the social media? Is it any of all these things? What defines me? That's number one. Number two, who am I when nobody is watching? Who am I when nobody is watching? Like, if nobody sees me right now on a platform or anything, who am I on my own? That's number two. Number three is, if my life comes crashing right now, who will I fall to? Who will I fall to? The reason I ask this question is, when you look at David in the Bible, where they came to kidnap everybody in their village, and his family, his wife, and every other person, including his own people, their family, and he was left with no one. And because of that, his people even almost stoned him. And the Bible records that, and David strengthened himself in the Lord. That is his identity. His identity is anchored on the Lord. For me, my identity is anchored on God. I am a Jesus lover. I love Jesus so much. You cannot take it from me wherever I go to. I even want you to see the light that I have seen. And that's because I can actually just look at even troubles in my marriage sometimes, and the fact that I take it to God. I don't necessarily have to take it to, let me go and look for one boyfriend that will just hold sometime. There are seasons, and let me tell you something, now that you're single, this is the best time for you to learn how to stay anchored on God. Because when you get married finally, there will be seasons in your marriage where you can't even get the help of your spouse. There will be periods in your marriage where for 2 weeks you are having misunderstanding. The other person does not want to talk. What will be happening in that 2 weeks? For some people, they don't mind. For the next 3 months, they can continue with that misunderstanding, because they have somebody by the side that makes them feel good on social media. What would you do if your life come crashing? People are committing suicide today. People are falling into depression. When you look at it very well, it is pressure from the world, pressure from social media, right? So when you ask yourself, what defines me? Who are you? What is my anchor, right? What values do you have? What are your values? And values are the things that are most important to you, the principles that determine who you connect with, what you do. And these are the things you should watch out for in terms of who you date. The relationships you're going into these days, it's not just you dating someone because they make you feel good, or they make you laugh, or they make you feel whatever. The question is, do you both share values? It says, if can two work together except they agree? What are values? Every time I ask singles, what are their values? They don't even know what it means. They say things like, oh, do you mean the money in my account, in my bank account? I'm like, no, that is not your values. Your values are things like discipline, spirituality, integrity, family, commitment, influence, hard work, traveling, creativity, the things that defines you. My own top 5 values are spirituality, family, influence, integrity, and growth. So if you look at the books at my back, it's not decoration. This is how we have been reading books for almost 5 years that we have been married now. This is how we read books. I'm always getting books. I have this app on my phone that I subscribe to every month, where I read books. And every month I can read 3 or 4 books. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be that I read the full book. I can open a book and pick the chapters that I want at that moment, right? So there are other things that we can do. Sometimes read books, read and expose yourself, travel, connect with people. Life is interesting. It's just that we have reduced it to just social media. So even when you're in your house, sitting around the table, dining, you're on social media, you're cooking, you're on social media, you're in church, social media. What is it? Social media has become our identity anchor. And some of us, if we don't touch our phones for 2 hours, your body will be shaking, like you need to take drug. That is the dopamine spike we're talking about. Go and research on it, right? So we need to do something about that. So if you can answer those questions, and just say to yourself, am I living a life that is really worthy? Have I found my purpose in life? And you can't find it from people or asking people. You have to go back to the creator, God. Why have you created me? The day you find out that purpose and you experience the light, you will stop looking at other people for validation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've touched on so many important points. I wish I can craft it and paste it on everybody's mind so it doesn't leave. It's like the Bible. What Bible verse? Okay, your word have I hidden in my heart so that I may not sin against you. Yeah, thank you so much. My last official question to our guest is how can we begin to consciously spend quality time with our partners? I want to believe it has to be intentional. The truth is, what you mentioned, I don't know the name, that stuff you just mentioned, it's there's something that gingers you to go open your phone. You just want to check the fear of missing out, the fear of the fact that, okay, you haven't checked TikTok in 2 hours and there are a lot of videos that have been posted. Am I not going to be current when my friends are speaking about stuff and they say, okay, have you seen it? They'll be like, oh, you haven't seen it. Oh, yeah, sorry, pardon me if you don't understand Yoruba. I believe that it has to be a conscious effort to say, okay, I want to switch off my phone. I want to spend quality time with my partner. I want to discuss that. I want to read a book. How can we? I know it sounds easy, but I think it's important that we internalize your response this night. How can we consciously spend time with our partner, our family, our friends, and bring that whole day where we go outside and do hide and seek? Start with Mrs. Adeleke.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. How can we intentionally spend time with our family? Intentionally. You have said it, intentionally. Now, I'll say that for you to understand the purpose of a thing and thoroughly appreciate it, you need to get into the mind of the manufacturer. If you don't get into the mind of the manufacturer of the product, you will not appreciate the product and you will not enjoy the product as you ought to enjoy it. You might just be doing trial and error, and in the process, probably, destroy the product, and not get to enjoy it. And like we in this part of the world, I remember even me back then, many years back, it's just a reason I started reading manuals. When I get a thing, I just want to do the fast, quick touch and see the quick push. But now I've learned better. I want to read the manual, go to YouTube and watch videos also, about the product before I start to operate the product. So if we are talking about relationships, we are talking about marriage, you need to get into the mind of God. God is the originator. God is, you cannot do marriage and do it outside of God. And like I would tell singles, you will not go to hell if you don't marry you. And there's no such a criteria anywhere that you must be married to enter heaven. But there are so many persons that will not go to heaven because of what the marriage has turned them into. So get into the mind of God concerning relationship first of all. When he ordained, what was he having in mind? What is God's idea? What's in God's mind? Why did he originate it? Go to the manufacturer and find out what it is. So start by getting to the manufacturer's mind to find out what his purpose and intent are for marriage and relationship. Number 2, for singles or for those that are already married also, we have different definitions of marriage right now, because of society and the civilization and where we are right now. But I will give us a definition from family life. That is, marriage is the union between two consenting adults from different nations who have come together to create a new nation whose interest, will promote the good of everybody and give our world peace. Now, marriage is between two cultures. I'm not talking about Yoruba culture or Hausa culture or Igbo or Ijaw culture. No. In every culture, you have language. There's a language they use. In every culture, you have values. You have you have belief systems. Okay. In every, you have attitudes that are disposed in those cultures. So the man from this culture with different sets of beliefs, different sets of values, different sets of principles, different sets of tradition coming to marry a lady, full-grown woman with different sets of culture, different sets of belief, different sets of tradition, and the two of them are coming together to form a new culture. The question now is, whose culture will they imbibe? Because each culture, there are different things, different names, different languages, different values, different beliefs, and different people. So whose culture are they going to use to create this new nation that they have come to form? Communication starts. So they need to sit down and look at the culture of the man, look at the culture of the woman, and then look. Now, Nika was saying something about values and then you not marrying just anybody. Yes. So if you look at the culture is not going, the values are contradicting. Hey, you don't have any business coming together in the first place. You don't have any business coming together in the first place. There is nothing like we will shall work it out. There's nothing like we'll go through the process. No. So find out. First of all, some persons don't even know what is obtainable in the cultures they are coming from. So find out what is obtainable in both cultures, the culture of the man, the culture of the woman that are coming to form a new culture. Whose culture are they going to imbibe? What are they going to drop? What are they going to pick up? How do they want to build their lives? So it starts by wanting to know where you are from and then how you want to build your life. What kind of family are we going to have? What kind of vision is our family be run by? What's going to be our DNA? What's going to be our vision? Who are going to be our mentors in this relationship? Who are the technical crew that we are going to employ, going to recruit in this relationship that we are going to? What kind of children do we want to have? What language are we going to be using in our nation? Some nations, you hear words like oloshi, idiot. Is that language going to be found in our nation? That language is going to be found in our nation. What children do we want to raise? Are we raising royalties? Are we raising nobles? Are we raising celebrities? Are we raising rulers of industries, builders of industries, or those that are going to hustle within the industry? If you have all of those, it will determine what is going to happen in that space. It will also determine whether social media is going to be one of your mentors or will be at the background. So it starts way before the two persons get to the aisle to say, yes, I do. And then for those that are already married, it's never too late. It's a matter of coming back together, sitting down. What vision is going to drive this culture? What vision is going to drive this nation? So we need to see marriage at that and then plan and then, intentionally, purposefully, communicate. When I was in school, I was taught man cannot not communicate. It used to be our slogans in communication arts. Man cannot not communicate. Communicate or perish. But if you don't know how to communicate, you will still perish. If you don't communicate, you will perish. If you communicate negatively, you will perish. So sit together, be deliberate, be intentional, and be purposeful about the kind of life you want to live, about the kind of family you want to live. From the beginning, decide what is going to be in your space and what is not going to be in your space. How are we going to spend our time? We could have things like open day. Open day in a family is when maybe once a week, every Saturday, like you have open day in school, where you go to school to check your children's book. We can have open day in our families also. Once in a week, perhaps, everybody sits together, children are talking, parents are talking, couples, everybody's talking. You pour out your mind. But in that space, there is no judgment, no criticizing. Do you understand? You don't go with criticism. You don't go with a judgmental attitude. Whatever they say you don't like, do you understand? You take care of it. I give an example. Somebody said in their open day, his wife told him, "You irritate me." You know, and since everything is to be taken with, okay, this is what my partner is saying. The thing is not about me, it's about what my partner feels. So my partner's need must be addressed. So he said, "My darling, so how do I irritate you?" So she said, "The way you eat is irritating. You eat too fast." And so he traced it back to discover that he was a very, very young child. You know, he had a lot of seniors that in their house, when you finish your food, bounce to the other person and start eating the other person's food. And so he learned to eat very, very fast so that others will not come and eat his food. And so even when, in his word, even when the enemies have left him many years ago, he still have that mentality. That's what Nike was talking about, mindset also, mentality, you know, and things that, emotions and all of that, feelings and emotions, you know. So that was still there. He was still eating very fast, even though he has grown to become a man of his own. He can, so from there, he started walking carefully. Okay, I'm going to be eating a lot slower now. So he started doing it. His wife, then he told his wife to give him feedback, and she gave him feedback, and they grew from there. So healthy communications will help us to grow. And then also we should learn to be vulnerable before one another. Let's learn to be vulnerable. Let's be empathetic. Let's learn to be vulnerable. Let's learn to express ourselves positively so that we can have healthy communications and then grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, Nike. How can we intentionally spend quality time with our partner and family?
Okay, I would like to share two principles. I call the first one renew principle, and I call the second one replace principle. So starting with the renew principle, I would say that you should start by renewing your mind when it comes to the issue of social media, communication with your partner. You need to first, it starts with the mind. You know, in the book called Atomic Habits, it says that people try to create an outcome in their life when they have not become it in their mind. So it's going to be difficult for me to just start telling you what to replace if you have not settled it in your mind that you really want to, okay, I want to reduce the time I spend on social media and I want to increase the time I spend with my partner or with my spouse, with my family or with my friends or the connections I'm building outside of social media. That is you. And you need to ask yourself why. Because in renewing your mind, your brain is going to be sounding very logical. So you need to be able to tell yourself, okay, this is why. Because I want to do this, because I want to do that. When you satisfy your mindset, then you can then start to create new perception and say, okay, so being on social media helps me to work and connect with people. But beyond that, there are other things I can do, like this or that. This is you creating new perception. And then you want to also be the model. You want to be the first person to start it in your relationship before you start telling the other person, I think we need to reduce our time on social media, we need to communicate better, blah, blah, blah. Now, while you've done all of that, the next principle is the replace principle. The first thing is set reminders and set goals. So reminders can be, okay, I want to reduce the time I spend on social media. One of the things I did for myself is on my phone, I think it's on iPhone and Samsung, there's something called screen limits. Maybe I think it's screen limit or so. You can actually tell your
Screen time.
phone, okay, screen time. You can tell your phone that I want to
screen
spend,
time. Yeah.
okay, screen time. You can set it in such a way that you want to spend 1 hour on Instagram, 1 hour on Facebook. So I actually set mine to 1 hour Facebook and 1 hour Instagram. I know that I don't really stay on Twitter like that, so I don't necessarily have to do that. And it may look as if, oh, just 1 hour. Yes, I noticed that when I became very intentional about it, when it comes to, oh, you have spent more than 1 hour, it started to happen in the night, not me like already passing 1 hour already in the morning, you know. I started to reduce the time. So maybe in the morning, 20 minutes, in the afternoon, another 20 minutes, in the night, 20 minutes, so that I can have time to do other things. So that's a way of setting reminders, or you put an alarm and say, stay off social media for the next 1 hour. That's it. The next thing is set goals. So what goals do you want to set between you and your partner that you can work with? Because if you are trying to stay off social media, but you do not have anything to replace it with, you will discover that you will fall back into the trap. So in terms of setting goals, you can say, okay, let us set goals where We can read a book, a chapter in a book together and review it over on maybe WhatsApp or on phone call. We can say, okay, we want to go somewhere, we want to meet, or we want to study this, or we want to have critical thinking time, or we want to work on our project. Just set goals for your life in every area of your life. You can use the wheel of life where we have your career, your finance, your social life, and then set goals for those areas of your life so that those goals would then enrich your space and it reduces the time you then spend on social media. And when it comes to reading books, one of the ways to make it effective is to actually read books based on your needs. It's not reading book because somebody said I read 52 books in a year. Even if it is 4 books you read in a year, and that 4 book is meeting a need that you feel like you need right now. If you need to work on your habits, your mindset, your finance, and your faith life, then find books that cut across these 4 areas of your life and work on meeting those needs of your life, right? The next thing you want to do is to form community of like-minded people. It is good that you also find people who share this belief of reducing time on social media and making relationships work. If all your friends believe in just, doing paparazzi on social media, you will find yourself falling because environment has a way of impacting what we do. So make sure that you're moving with people that understand this new mindset. Another thing we want to do for our generation is, while I understand that we'll work on social media and we do all sorts of things there are times we should delegate some things and not always try to do everything by ourselves. Then learn new skills. Learn new skills. If you feel like you don't have things to do, then there's this site called Allison, Alison. Allison is like a school website where you can learn things like customer care, project management. There's so many things, website and all. You can learn them there. You can choose to learn one in a month because it is very rich and you might need to spend some time studying it as if you're in a school. By the time you look like this is March, from March down to December, you would have learned like maybe 4 new skills that you can add to your CV, right? If you notice, I'm giving you replacement, things you can use to replace your time with. If you do not replace your time with these things, you will fall back into it, right? And then lastly, be accountable. Tell your partner, I've noticed we hardly talk about our growth. We are always on social media. Can you become accountable for me? Can I be accountable for you? Things like that. And then you can use it to, sorry, my husband is disturbing me. I think that's just where I'm going to end it. Be accountable. Tell someone to reach out to you, or you tell your partner to reach out to you. Welcome there. Sorry. Shawarma, thank you. I'm so sorry. Please, I'm done. Don't mind them in the background, but I'm done with the question. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, so I'm giving you how to renew your mind and how to
Shawarma, I want shawarma.
replace it. Yeah, don't worry. They've come to give me shawarma, so that's hobby on the wheel. So I hope that you guys have learned from that. So tell yourself this night, what do you want to start doing? What do you want to stop doing? Who do you want to talk to? Get your clock out and set reminders now. Bring out your screen limit app, whatever, and do it now. Don't wait till tomorrow. If you don't do it now, you're going to tell your mind, oh, no need, Jerry. And your mind will always work based on how you have set it to be. So I hope that helps you.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. I was actually doing that as we were talking. I was checking my screen time. Thank you so much for
that's great.
Thank you for the tips. I don't know, the audience, is there any question, any comment from you guys before we call it a day? I don't want to keep you for long. I don't care. Do you have any question? I'm surprised that you haven't spoken.
I'm also doing my own. No.
Okay, your screen, right?
Yes, so please. I'm a fan of Instagram. All this Bella Ninja.
Comment, question. Have you learned something? What have you learned? Takeaways, action plan. The Bechuku of God. I'm waiting for you. Simi, can you speak? Nimok, we've not heard from you. Who else? Mr. Lawrence Akonde, it's your chance to speak now. You have the floor.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing your thoughts. I really learned a lot, especially the last part. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so especially the last part, replacing our addiction with something more positive. Like I said, I am a monitoring spirit on Instagram, but maybe I should be monitoring Allison.com. I just checked it out, by the way. That's a good website.
Yes, it
There's
is.
also a website like that, or Coursera. I'm not sure if you guys know about that, but that's also something. I'm a visual learner, so I do YouTube a lot. If I can see someone do it, I know that I can do it. So YouTube is also another platform. But the thing about YouTube is that you have to have, the control over YouTube, not to go watch maybe a music video or something that will be distracting you, but to stay on course and learn a new skill on YouTube. I started making my hair myself on YouTube. I started doing makeup by myself on YouTube. So those are also highlights. Um, Thank you. I learned so much. Thank you both for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tobichiko. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any question, any other person? I don't know, I'm waiting for you. Aderonke.
Yeah, actually, initially I had some questions, but our speakers they've actually touched on it, right? Because while we were speaking, I was just like, okay, I was actually waiting for the connection of social media, as in we didn't even say social media now, we talked about media. So I think initially we were talking about social media, and I was like, okay, where is the place of media? Because I know the content we see on all the soap opera and all of that, people consuming and expect it in the reality sense, whereby, like there are two different things. You see people make love like is they're just drinking water, like you just assume that okay, your partner should also be that person and all of that. So it's just about, like we talked about, the space of our mind. My question has actually been cleared on, and so I think I'm good. So thank you very much for the knowledge shared to our guests. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Nimot said I would have loved to speak over. I'm in a very noisy place. I said she has absorbed quite a lot, and she also agrees with most of the things being said. Thank you so much. From my side, I am true. I feel fulfilled. I heard everything that I needed to hear. I'm going to go back and do my homework. I'm not a social media person like that. I don't post, but I consume. I choose who I follow carefully, and I choose the content that I consume carefully.
Is it from his end? That's the response?
Yeah, I think I want to think so.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. PM, we can't actually hear you. So likewise myself, let me just take it from where it stops, right? Like, we just need to keep saving what we are actually consuming on the media, right? We need to actually choose our the followers carefully, like Nika mentioned earlier. She talked about, she unfollowed. So there's no harm in when a particular person or whatever handles doesn't really meet your goal for the season, or fine, we should. And the area of comparison that Nika also mentioned, as I talked earlier on, I know it's easy for us, sometimes we say we hear all these things, we come, we get information, but when we get to the reality of it, we see people do things like this, we still get to compare and all of that. So like for me, from my hand, I just say nobody is perfect.
You just need to discover who you are, know your identity, and know your identity is not in the social media, it's not in the media. Your identity is in God, and you are who God says you are. How you want to live your life, how you want to design it, I think is a choice we should make. So Mayowa, welcome back and over to you. I just try to help you fill in. Okay, Mayowa, can you hear me? All right, guys, do we have any question, any final remarks, any question for our guests? Or do we have anything? Okay, Nimatu said, so it's actually time because it's 2 hours. So Nima said, I am also a consumer of content and I do a lot of following and unfollowing. I can tell you that I have people I haven't met physically, but have touched my life significantly. Yeah, very, very true. Very, very true. Like also I've not met Nike physically. I follow her, like, and I saw the content she was pushing out there and I liked it. Can we hear me? Am I just speaking? I want to be sure.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So like I got value from her page, and I started following her, and I thought, okay, I think we need to also drink from the cup of our knowledge. So we've not met before, but as social media actually connected us, and here we have. Most of the people on this platform have not even met any, I think, except for Nimat, right? Every other person on relationship realities, I've never met anybody physically, but we do life together because, yeah, we get value from one another. All right, so we're going to just round up this the session just by saying thank you very much, sis. Thank you, Mr. Deleke. Thank you, Mrs. Folagbade. I really, really appreciate you guys for saying yes to this. So the goal here is actually to break relationship ambiguities, right? Like we get a lot of misconception on the social media, and thank God that you guys are also doing the same. Like, so we just need to keep spreading the word, keep sharing. Just like the video we watched, I think my wife said it's been on the social media for like 2 weeks. So we saw someone saying that, there's this particular style God wants you to do in your marriage. Once you don't do it, you are going to fire and all of that. These are information, and a lot of people will consume this information without saving it. They will just take it like, yeah, that is it. Hey, husband, don't touch me, only missionary. That's what will take us to heaven, right? So please, guys, let's be mindful.
Where is in the Bible that it should be missionary? Is there any scripture that did God vividly explain that, as in give us a picture of? Why is it because the missionary sounds religious? Is that why? Or so what's the reason for missionary? Why is it missionary?
Oh my God, we can't even go there. Maya, over to you. All right, thank you.
Missionary is religious now. Sounds religious, so that's the only one we can use. All the doggy and stuff, they are invention of evil things, so that's why. No response.
No, let's go there today. Let's leave that matter. It's a matter of choice. You don't have control over what somebody drops there, but you have control what to take and what not to take. So that's just choice.
No, but it's kind of sad because we say it's a matter of choice, but there are a lot of people who are being misled by this by such nonsense because they look up to these people as a source of knowledge and a source of truth. And you see people just rambling nonsense. Like,
Does that mean
yeah,
my
that video really irked me. Really, I was really upset. I wasn't upset